Hey fellow Trek Chatters, I'm Pit Trekkie, and welcome to the 1-year anniversary episode of Pittsburgh's Trek Chat. I can't believe it's already been an entire year. A year ago today, I actually posted my very first video for this show. Since that time, I have done what will now be 18 episodes and 3 minisodes. To say that I have had fun would be an understatement. I've had a blast doing this show. I wish I was able to do it more often. You know, it's kind of hard to do that with my work schedule, but I try to get out as much content as I can. And even though when I'm not actually on film or on YouTube, I'm still writing episodes, thinking up ideas. I got some pretty neat stuff coming up. So just wanted to say I'm really happy that I'm still doing this. I'm getting a chance to meet other people. That was part of the big reason I started doing this show, is because I wanted to meet other fans and network with other fans. It's also part of the reason why I went on to Twitter, so that I can meet other Star Trek fans. Like I said in my video a year ago, being a Star Trek fan can be a very lonely experience if you don't have anybody else around you who really shares that. And it's true. It does tend to be true. There's the stigma involved around Star Trek, things like, you're a nerd, you're a geek. I completely embrace that. I always have, but I was always nervous that people would ask me or talk to me about it. Now I just talk about it any way I want, okay? So I think it's been a very interesting year, and we're certainly in some very interesting times for Star Trek right now. Think about some of the stuff that's going on right now. We've got, whether you like Discovery or not, it's nice to have Star Trek at least on the air and in the news again. So Discovery will be starting its second season in beginning of 2019. We have these short mini episodes of Star Trek coming out. What do they call Star Trek Discovery short treks, something like that. That'll be coming out soon before the new season of Discovery. Back in August, we found out about the new Captain Picard TV series. We also found out over the summer that there are other Star Trek series that are being planned, some animated ones, possibly that Kondani and Singh one, a whole bunch of other odds and ends that might be coming up. So it's really, again, like I've been saying a lot, I'm not the biggest fan of Discovery, but it is nice to have Star Trek back in the news again, something to look forward to. One thing that I'm really still passionate about is the current division in fandom. If you go back on my YouTube channel, Pittsburgh's Trek Chat episode number 5 talks a lot about this, where I talk about how Discovery is basically divided into 2 camps. You got your pro-Discovery people and you got your anti-Discovery people. And a year later, it's still pretty much the same, if not worse. Okay. Now, Star Trek has always had divisions. I think every fandom does. You got some people that like the material, some people that don't like the material. That's life. But I think social media makes it a lot worse. It makes people more bold because they don't have to really confront people face to face. But some of the things that are still being said on both camps, from both sides, it's just ridiculous. And it really breaks my heart as a fan to see fandom being torn apart like this. Star Trek's always been some sort of a uniting front. Everybody would come together. Like, I remember going to the Las Vegas Star Trek conventions in 2012 and 2016. People embrace each other. They love each other. You know, they have a really good time when they're there. They make friendships, that last for years. So I just hate going on Facebook and going on to the other, websites where people are chatting and seeing the division. If you have an opinion that's different from somebody else, you're vilified and called horrible, rotten names, and you have horrible things, posted about you. It's ridiculous. So some of what I've been seeing on social media lately, first of all, one of the things that I see all the time, and it's from both camps, is edict is being thrown around. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations, you guys all know that, okay? So on both sides you're having it being said. You're having the pro-Discovery people saying that people should be, where's the edict at with the anti-Discovery people? They're not accepting of new changes or updates or things to make things modern. But then you have the anti-Discovery people saying, where's their edict at, because they constantly feel like they're being berated. So then they end up berating the people that are berating them. It's a complete mess. And there's constant accusations going from camp to camp to camp. I got some examples here that I've been looking for. So if you're an anti-Discovery person, and really I would fall under this, I don't 100% hate Discovery, but I would not be sad to see it go bye-byes at some point. But if you're anti-Discovery, you have people on the other side referring to you as racist, white privilege, homophobe, sexist, haters. Basically, haters is like the blanket term, and I'm really getting sick and tired of people saying that there's some sort of phobe. Anytime you disagree with anybody on that side, automatically you're some sort of hater, you're some sort of phobe, and it's ridiculous. There might be a few that are like that, but the majority aren't. Okay? I know I'm not one of them. I just dislike Discovery because it doesn't, to me, honor what Star Trek has been in the past and what it looks like, its history. Some people may feel differently. That's on them, but I don't associate with them. But basically, it kind of comes off as like a social justice warrior land with these people that are pro-Discovery. Let's see here. Also, with the pro-Discovery side, some of the names and things that they say about people that disagree with them, and usually some of the disagreements will just be very mild. They have referred to people as a bunch of losers. I don't want to catch their stupid is another one. Freaks. And they said edict. I-D-I-C-K. If you're pro-Discovery, then you get the anti-Discovery people that are saying, oh, well, you know what, you're not a true Star Trek fan. I am beyond sick and tired of anti-Discovery people telling pro-Discovery fans that they are not true Trek fans. It is absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Anybody can love any kind of Star Trek that they want. There are 6 TV series, an animated series, and what, 13 movies? You can love whatever you want. It's a franchise. It's not real life. I mean, it may feel like that to all of us because that's a world we love to embrace ourselves in, but people can do whatever they want. They can feel however they want. You don't have to rip people down just because they have a differing opinion. But some of the things the pro-Discovery people say about the anti-Discovery are Canonites, fanboys. They also refer to the old fans of Star Trek. Only want cardboard sets with jelly bean buttons. They're called Trump supporters. One person said on Facebook a week or so ago they referred to anti-Discovery people as twats, butt hurting, rejecting personality. They have nothing better to do. All right. It's not needed. I thought Star Trek fans were better than this on both sides. We all have always come together and shared things. We wanted to show a positive future. Star Trek offers a very positive future for humanity, and that's what we all want. But we're acting like, if you want to just say it, we're acting like typical 21st century jerks, that are really civilized. It's really sad. It bothers me. And it's not going to get any better. And no matter what Star Trek series that ever comes out in the future, it's going to be the same. You're always going to have the likes and the dislikes. You just gotta take the good with the bad, and just watch the show or don't watch the show. Do it for your own reason. Now, what I personally think would be a good way of bringing Star Trek back in the future. I think Discovery missed the boat with this, and the CBS producers. I really think that after a 12-year absence of Star Trek on TV, I think they really needed to go back to the root of what Star Trek is. Now, what do you think the root of Star Trek is? Well, I think the root of the Star Trek of the franchise is to boldly go where no one has gone before. I would argue definitely the Next Generation is probably the most popular out of all the Star Treks. I saw a poll recently online, I can't remember where I saw it, but they were saying Next Generation was ranked as #1, DS9 #2. But I think really, if you think about it, the most successful 2 Star Trek series had the same formula. The original series and the Next Generation. They were on the Enterprise, boldly going where no one has gone before, exploring space. Then you moved into, I think, where a lot of the division started. I mean, there was division during Next Generation. If you go back and look at the old Star Trek, the official fan club magazines, instead of people yelling and saying stuff online, you'll see them in the readers' comments in the section. People will say, I disagree with so-and-so's letter from issue number 96. Something like that. Okay, I actually had that happen. I had a letter published in the Star Trek Communicator. It's the one with has Patrick Stewart as Captain or Professor X. I'm not a big X-Men person, but Charles Xavier on the cover. It's a story in the back of it called Earth the Voyager. So I had somebody a couple issues later respond to it. Not so much negatively, but he didn't completely agree with me. But there was still some animosity. But with Deep Space Nine, I think it's where it all started. Everybody started thinking it was too dark, it was not on the Enterprise, they were not exploring, even though they really were. They went through the wormhole, they were exploring the Gamma Quadrant until the war broke out with the Dominion. Okay? Voyager obviously was a lot different because you were on the other side of the galaxy. You didn't see any of the traditional aliens and villains there, so people were upset about that one. And then they said it was a retread of TNG. Then Enterprise came out and it tried to do somewhat close to what TOS and Next Generation did, but again, it had a very specific premise that it was the first ship out in space, so it was a different kind of show. And I think it's the same thing with Discovery. They're not out exploring, they're not doing anything. They started out point blank with war. You know, and that's how they reintroduced Star Trek, was with a dark, bloody war that a human being started. You know, it's ridiculous. I really believe that what they should have done, and I hope that they will do at some point, is I wish they would just go back to Star Trek's origins, that they would put a new crew on and a new Enterprise and go out and to boldly go where no one has gone before. I think that's what they should have done to reintroduce people to what Star Trek really is. And I don't think Discovery's done that. I think it's just created its own thing, and it's going dark like whatever everybody wants to see now with Game of Thrones or whatever else those stupid shows are on HBO and Showtime. I don't get those channels, so I don't watch them, and I don't know what kind of stuff it is. Okay? But that's just my opinion. I think Star Trek just needs to go back to its formula. And who knows, maybe some of the Captain Picard series will have some of that happen. I don't know. But I think going back to the original formula, you can't go wrong with it. And a lot of people have said, you know, well, how many stories can you tell in the Star Trek universe? Well, if you go back and watch the Star Trek saga, from one generation to the next, I think it was called, it came out in 1988. I was actually in second grade. And I got in trouble at home and I wasn't allowed to watch it. But I think there's a point where Gene Roddenberry says, my goodness, the galaxy is the setting for our show. You know, there's plenty of stories to tell out there. And there really are. And I'm hoping that with Discovery next season that we're going to see a little bit more science, a little bit more exploring. Exploring more than anything is what I think we really need to see again. But again, I think Star Trek needs to go back to its roots in order for it to be really appreciated for what it always has been. All right. Let's see here. So that's pretty much my rant right now about the current status of Star Trek. I just felt that it was during this episode of the 1 year anniversary, I just needed to say something about that. That I hope it moves forward and it goes back to what it's supposed to be about. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to go and relaunch a segment that I've done on this show before called Open Channel. All right. So in the last episode, I talked about the what is it from CBS, the tardigrade situation, where the guy who created the video game is saying that the producers of Discovery copied off of his game illegally and took his premise. So I got 3 comments about it. So I really asked, is Star Trek Discovery a ripoff? James says, short answer, yes it is a ripoff. Main plot, giant blue tardigrade sharing DNA for space travel, spores, characters, interracial homosexual relationships, uniforms, meeting others in thoughts, traveling. Ugh, I can go on forever. Not the first case of a megacorp stealing from the little man. James, I couldn't have said it better myself, my brother. Thank you very much. The next one we have is from Rover. I think the game developer has a legit complaint. I too have looked at the images. Too much is similar to the game and STD. I think that CBS should now be under their fan rules they created regarding Axanar. Now a video over 15 minutes and no more than 2 episodes. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. Thank you very much, Rover, for your comment. And then my YouTube buddy, Captain April, I'm glad that you sent me a response here. I'm honored. He wrote down, I think it's good that Abden is asking for a jury trial. If it was just lawyers and a judge, CBS would have a better chance of getting it all tossed on legalities. A fair jury will take one look and see that at this and see the obvious. I really hope so, Captain. I really do. I don't trust the judicial system, period, and I'm sure CBS will find a way to try to screw it around and pay them off. But I'm really hoping that they see it and say, you know what, this is too much the same. It's nothing but copied material, and this guy deserves compensation. So, Captain, thank you very much for watching. I love your videos. Please, everybody, go out and check out Captain April's YouTube channel. He's got some great videos, great insight into Star Trek. All right. Well, that pretty much does it for my 1-year anniversary episode. I've got some neat ideas coming up. Some of my ideas I've been working on for 9-10 months. I actually have an episode coming up about Lieutenant Yar and what I think about her death. Because I don't agree with the way it's always been portrayed in the show. I also have some ideas of like things that I feel make for true Star Trek. I also have been thinking about trying to do an episode about comparing Harry Mudd from Discovery to the original series. Just kind of analysis. I've also been wanting to do an episode where I film the inside of my office at my work. I'm a social worker, and my whole office is Star Trek decked out. So I just thought it'd be fun to share that with my fellow Trek chatters out there and fellow Trekkie fans. All right? So please, if you like this video, please click the subscribe button, click the like button, please comment below. Question for next week is, what are your thoughts on the current status of Star Trek? Whether it's the fandom or the different types of shows, movies that are supposed to be coming out. You can follow the show. You can go on YouTube, just type Pittsburgh's Trek Chat into the search engine. You'll go right to my channel. Like I said, this will be my 18th episode, and there are 3 minisodes, so catch up, watch some of the old stuff, see what I have to talk about. I'm just a simple guy. That's all I want this show to be about, is something simple, something that people can come here and just feel comfortable and enjoy themselves and hear passion from a passionate Star Trek fan. That's what this is all about, guys. It is. You can also follow the show on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Pittsburgh's Trek Chat, and you can also go on Twitter at PGH Trek Chat. Before I go, I want to give one last shout out to some people who have been supportive of me, of the show, for the last year. I mean, I don't have the biggest following right now. I'm hoping that it'll grow as time goes on, but my twin brother Matt has been nothing but supportive, watched every episode. I even tweeted him yesterday, and he said that he was actually having a marathon of all my episodes, so that felt nice. So Matt, thank you very much. Thank you for your service in the Navy, and we'll see you at Christmas. Also, my wife Brandy, she's also been supportive, watching the episodes, consistently giving me feedback. Brandy, I love you. We've been married 15 years. You know, you're very special to me. I wouldn't be the same person I am without you. I love you very much. There's also a fan that I've met on Twitter. His name is Johnny. He's from down south in Tennessee. And I just happened to come across him while I was looking up and finding people to follow that are Star Trek fans on Twitter. And he's become a really good friend. It's amazing how much the two of us actually have in common about things. And Johnny, if you're watching, thank you very much for supporting the show as well and commenting. I really hope someday that we'll get to meet each other, because I think, brother, we have a lot in common, and I think we'd have a lot to say to each other. So Johnny, thank you very much for being a good friend, even though we've only been friends digitally at this point. All right? So I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video, and until then, may yins live long and prosper.